It's the mass shootings that get the attention and make the headlines. It's San Bernardino, it's Aurora, Colorado, it's Orlando. But the reality is the vast majority of American gun violence does not look like mass shootings. It looks like what happened here in the store behind me. This is Fairfield, Connecticut. Beautiful New England town, a couple of colleges, churches, a beautiful main street. In the store behind me in 2005, Tim and Kim Donnelly were closing down for the evening when a drug addict with a stolen gun came in and in a botched robbery attempt shot them both 5 times. It didn't make the national headlines, but it devastated this community.
Finding out the shock is paralyzing and your world just stops, and it takes a decent amount of time for your mind and your body to even comprehend what's being communicated to you and what's happening, and it's horrible, and it's not something that you're ever prepared for, and it's something that no one should ever have to find out. Anytime you experience a tragedy or loss of this magnitude, your life instantly is split between before and after, and in my case, life with my parents and life without them. Life with my parents was good. It was happy, it was fun, and life without them is much harder to articulate. It's been devastating. In addition to not having parent figures in my life, everything that they're missing out on, there's so much that has happened that they should be here for, and that's never not said. It's extremely difficult. I would say to the lawmakers, I hope that they're listening to the voices and stories of people in the communities that they represent.
This is the intersection of Pembroke and Jane Streets in Bridgeport, Connecticut, a city that has seen more than its fair share of gun violence. In fact, 3 days ago, right here, there was a gang-related drive-by shooting that resulted in a young man being shot twice. He's now in the hospital, but he's one of the lucky ones. Bridgeport, Connecticut, like Norwalk, like cities all over this country, have seen too many families lose family members to gun violence.
It was devastated. I mean, I couldn't believe at this moment. He just went on the store. He just tried to came back home. And it got worse at that moment. I don't have words to say how I feel in this at this moment. My other 2 kids. Feel that his absence in the house, every kid has his own personality. Obviously my trick has always been different, and he has something like, kind of special. And the other kids getting some problems at school as well. It changed too much. We miss him.
My perspective over the years have just become intensified because of all the rash of shootings and senseless shootings that I must deal with. Out of a 12-month period, it depends, but say out of a 12-month period, I'm probably involved in at least 4 to 5 shooting incidents that involve the victim dying and me either coordinating and or doing the service or participating in some kind of way in the service. Recently, there have been 2 shootings literally around the corner from the church, and so I've had to physically go around the corner and be with the community persons there, so seeking to be present. On the state and national level, I'm a co-chair of Congregations Organized for New Connecticut, which is an affiliate of the Industrial Areas Foundation. And on the national level, we have engaged in a strategy called Do Not Stand Idly By, based on the biblical scripture that says, do not stand idly by while your neighbor's blood is being spilled in the streets. I think Congress can do their part in sort of making sure that our government doesn't side with gun manufacturers, but rather sides with the victims at best, and at least not be an active participant in protecting gun manufacturers. If I were to ask legislators to pass legislation around gun violence or gun control, it would be to rethink the legislation that's already put before them. Background checks, no fly, no purchase guns. That's what I would ask them to do.
We lose 30,000 Americans every single year to gun violence. In 2 years, we lose more Americans to gun violence than we lost in the entire duration of the Vietnam War. This does not need to be the case. There are any number of things that we can do. Universal background checks, no fly, no buy, an assault weapon ban, limiting the number of rounds in a magazine, the use of technology to make sure that only a gun's owner can use that gun. If we could get a bunch of those things done, we would save thousands of lives. The opponents of doing anything are right. No one thing is going to end gun violence. In fact, we'll never end all gun violence. But the rest of the world doesn't have this problem. We do, because we're a nation awash in guns, and it does not need to be that way. The only thing we can't do is to continue to be silent and to do nothing.